Today we're going to modify these chairs to fit in a new space. I'm Josh and this is JP Designs. So I've got this customer that bought these chairs for a bar top, but then they're building a new home and they're actually going to be at a countertop height. So these need to be lowered about 4 inches. What we're going to do is we're going to cut off parts of the bottom of the legs down there. To do that, it's going to be a little bit difficult because these legs are splayed out. They're not perfectly centered, so I can't just run it through a table saw. Let me show you what we're going to do. Now, the first step is just going to be to get a piece of wood. Now, you want to cut this wood to almost the same height that you want to cut off. I say almost because you also need to count for the width of the pencil. From the tip of that pencil to the bottom of the block down here is 4 1/4 inches. That is exactly how much we need to take off at the bottom of this. The reason we want to set this to a fixed height is because of those splayed legs. Running this on a flat surface next to those legs will give you the same angle that they're on right now. So I'll show you what we're doing. Let's go. So we have a nice even surface here. Now this can be your table saw or whatever, but you're just gonna set this firmly on the bottom and mark each leg all the way around. So you have a good, solid, straight line on all 4 sides. So now that we have the chairs marked and the lines are nice and straight, we have 2 options for cutting those. If you're really good and really talented, you can use a power tool, an oscillating tool. You can use a skill saw. Now, I'm not that comfortable. There's a high likelihood of mistakes when you're using a power tool. So instead, I'm using my hand saw. This is a Japanese pull saw. I have a lot more control with this and I can get it more accurate. So I need to be really careful with this and go right on one side of the line there. So I'm gonna take it nice and slow. I'm just gonna check and make sure that I'm not going over that line. And I'm gonna stay right here. Check the back side too. Now you can see it's not a perfectly smooth cut here. Here's the offcut. It's jagged, it's not perfect. Even this way, there's a few little jagged edges, so it's not perfect, but it's not that big of a deal because at the end of the day, we're gonna sand it down on an even surface, and you'll see what I mean later. But a little sanding, and this will be perfect. So that's 1 down, we got 15 to go. Take it nice and easy, and get it done. Let's do this. So I'm almost finished cutting these and I realized I never explained how to actually do this. With this type of blade, you don't want to use this. This is for cutting with the grain like that. You want to use the tighter teeth. That is for cutting across the grain. So that's the first thing. Now for this, I want to put my thumb up so it's not going to get cut, but I want to rest it up against my thumb and ever so slightly start making my cuts. Very light pressure just to kind of get it started. And I keep blowing the sawdust off so I can see that line. Now on every one, I'm cutting just to that side of the line. And I'm just going to keep leaning my saw back, trying to stay right on the line there. All right, now I have a pretty good line established. The next thing I want to do is I want to look down the side here and make sure that I'm staying in line there. I'm going to do the same thing with my hands. Keep my thumb on it. That way it stabilizes it from going this way or that way and from moving this way. So it keeps it right in place. And I want to ride that line right there. I'm just doing a small score all the way down. Now when I'm doing this, I'm trying to stay on this same plane as this line. When I'm coming here, I don't want to turn the saw this way or anything on that exact same plane, because really we're cutting one straight plane all the way down. And then next I'm going to come around to this side and do the same thing looking over it. Really, you shouldn't have to do this step if you are good at cutting in a straight line, which I'm not. So I do this to give myself a little wiggle room and to keep my blade straight. So now I have it scored all the way around in 3 sides. And then I'm gonna keep my thumb here and go straight down in this plane. I can go a little faster. I've already got those grooves established, so the blade will tend to stay in that groove instead of wanting to wander. But I just need to focus on staying in that groove here, and then check that side of the other leg every now and then. As I'm going, it should stay in that same groove. It should be on that same plane. So I kind of lean down, cut heavier here, lean forward, cut heavier here, just to make sure that I'm still good. The deeper the groove, the easier it is to stay in the same plane. Come this way, keep kind of going back and forth until finally it cuts straight off. And that is how I do it. But just like that, we have 4 shorter chairs, but we're not done. We need to even them out, smooth the bottom, make sure that they don't wobble, put the feet on, and then stain it. So we still got a little bit of work to do. So the next thing we need to do is sand down the feet. Now these are the cutoffs, but I'm just gonna show you what I mean. We're gonna attach this with some adhesive, some glue, spray adhesive, that's the right word, onto this flat surface here. And then we're just gonna rub the chairs on top of them. That will smooth down any uneven surfaces. Now, we could just do one leg at a time, but then that would mean that the other legs would be just a fraction of an inch, a fraction of a millimeter, really, off from that one leg. So we're gonna do 2 legs at a time. That way 2 legs are on the same plane and they will be perfectly even. So that's what we're gonna do next. It might take a little time, but let's see how it goes. First things first, we gotta spray. Now my hands are gonna be all gross and sticky, whatever. Alright, so now we got them down. Next, we just have to put the chairs on and move them back and forth. Now if we did that right, then this should have no wobble. Looks good. We gotta do the other 4. Now sometimes there may be a little bit of a wobble that you'll notice before you start. And if that's the case, then you know you need to focus on one certain leg. You can go a little harder on that, a little more on that, but this is how you even them out. With a quick cut, a quick sand, and then it's on to finishing. For the next part of this finishing process, we need to look at the ends. So first of all, we're gonna need to remove this foot. We're gonna reuse it. It looks like it's just a nail, so we'll just pop it out and nail it into the new freshly cut foot here. But before we do that, you'll notice down here we have chamfers all around the edge. Now I'm not gonna get my router out and chamfer bit and all that and do all that. Instead, I'm just gonna get some sandpaper and hit those fresh edges with a little bit, just to kind of round it over a little bit. So we're gonna take off these feet, we're gonna smooth this out and knock down those sharp edges, and then we need to stain it or paint it black to match the finish that's already on here. After that, then we can reattach the foot and we are done. Not too hard of a project, but a lot of little steps. So let's do it.
Now while he's doing that, let me tell you about today's sponsor. I'm just kidding, I don't have any sponsors, but I guess you could say you're the sponsor. I'm trying to make YouTube a viable option as a career, and I would love your help to do that. So please, if you think that I've earned it, subscribe, like, share, and comment below.
Okay, to make the bottoms of these match that black color, some people would use India ink. I don't have any, so I've got this very, very old can of ebony stain. I mean, look at that. That's all just sawdust from sitting on top. So very old. We'll see how it goes. I don't have a small paintbrush, but I do have an old toothbrush that I'm gonna use. I just need to be careful not to get it on my clothes. So here we go. And I'm gonna give it just a minute to soak in, and then get a paper towel and wipe it off. Now this is going into end grain, so it's gonna soak in pretty quickly. So really just 15, 20 seconds or so. You wanna make sure that I get all around the legs. Yeah, that's not bad. That is not bad. Now I want you to see this. Down here, this is where it got sanded. This is where it didn't. So sandpaper was, when we were evening this out, this is what got hit. Now since this is sanded, there's a lot of sawdust that got shoved into the end grain where this is just cut. So the stain absorbed a lot better right here than it did right here. That's just a great example of why you need to water pop, why you need to clean out your cuts if you are going to be staining something that is going to be seen. This is the bottom of the chair, so I don't really care that much, but it's just a great example. Cool way to show you some science. Well, it's the middle of summer and it's super hot. I've only been out here for about 2 hours and I have sweat through my shirt already. So I apologize for the sweat and the grossness, but we're almost done. Next thing to do is just pop these guys off, and I'm just using a screwdriver to get under there, get under the nail, and kind of work my way around it. Hopefully this will pop out. There we go. Might take a little bit of time, a little effort to get it loose, but that's what we're searching for. It's just a nail, and we're just gonna hammer it into the new bottoms. So 15 more of these guys. That's it. That's the bottoms, and all we have to do is wait for the new bottoms to dry, get that stain on there, and then hammer these in place, and we have new height on our chairs. And that's it. We've changed 4 bar top height chairs down to countertop height chairs. I hope you learned something new or fun or interesting about the process or what I did here. You can do this with modifying old chairs, or if you're building your own stools or chairs. Now, woodworking is a never-ending journey of learning and self-discovery. So if you've done something like this, or if you have any other ideas or tips or tricks or anything, I am all ears. I love to learn and hear from all of you. So give me a like and subscribe and comment below, and we'll see you next time.